This guide shows you how to combine your heating and cooling sources with your ventilation system. Available from UltraLink version 4. Agenda. We will go through the commissioning overview, how to pair wireless sensors to UltraLink and placement of sensors, how to update UltraLink firmware if needed, how to pair extract UltraLink as sensor or subunit to supply UltraLink, how to mount actuators onto heating and cooling sources and wire cables to supply UltraLink, commissioning in OneLink app, and how to give the room visitor access to adjust the room climate via OneSet app. Okay, let's start. We will start with the overview of the steps. The commissioning includes 3 mandatory steps and 2 optional. 1. Pairing a temperature sensor to the supply UltraLink. You can choose from a wireless Bluetooth sensor mounted onto the wall. Or you can choose to use the temperature of the extract air measured by the extract UltraLink. 2. Mount the new actuators to the preferable heating and cooling sources and run cables from the actuators to the supply UltraLink. 3. Set up temperature rules for the room area. The 3 first steps are mandatory for setting up the functionality. The following 2 steps are optional. 4. If possible, pair the supply UltraLink to the extract UltraLink to ensure the extract air follows the supply air. 5. Give access to the room visitor to read or read and write the room temperature.
In this session, we will show you how to pair a wireless sensor to your supply UltraLink and where to best place it. The feature to use wireless sensors with UltraLink is available from UltraLink version 4. You can read the product version on the label placed on the damper body, an example shown bottom right. Before we start, we will go through requirements and preparations. Requirements. You need a smart device, phone or tablet. Make sure you are within the product Bluetooth range to the supply UltraLink and that you have a wireless sensor from Lindab. Preparations. Make sure the product is turned on. Also make sure you have downloaded Lindab OneLink application from App Store or Google Play to your smart device. Have any necessary tool ready for mounting the sensor onto the wall. Okay, let's start. Make sure your sensor is turned on and locate the QR code placed on the sensor. Then start the OneLink application. Scan for devices and connect to UltraLink. Go to Configuration, Wireless Sensors. Tap on one of the available sensor slots. Tap on the QR code icon and scan the QR code attached to your sensor. Tap on the toggle switch in the upper right corner to enable sensor. Wait for the sensor to connect. When the sensor icon turns green, it's connected. This might take a few seconds. In cases where you use temperature, CO2 or humidity sensors, place the sensor within the breathing zone, approximately 120 to 180 centimeters above the floor, and make sure not to place the sensor within unrestricted air circulation like windows or ventilation or any heating or cooling sources that can affect the readings. Also make sure the sensor is within range from the UltraLink. In case of using a presence sensor, also make sure that the sensor is aimed at and has a free line of sight to the area of detection. Note also the detection range of the specific sensor. Okay, let's go ahead and mount the sensor to the wall. You can always check the sensor signal strength in the OneLink app. In this session, we will show you how to update the firmware in your product via Lindab OneLink application. By doing that, you can enable new features and make sure you have the healthiest and latest firmware in your product. Wireless firmware updates is available for following Lindab products: UltraLink FTCU, FTMU, and the feature is available from UltraLink version 4. You can read the product version on the label placed on the damper body or look after the present firmware version inside Lindab OneLink application. Before we start, we will go through requirements and preparations. The requirements are: you need a smart device, you make sure that you are within the Bluetooth range, and that you have a reliable internet connection. Preparations: make sure the product is turned on, and make sure you have downloaded Lindab OneLink application from App Store or Google Play to your smart device. Start the OneLink app and press Scan. And connect and log in to the Lindab product. When done so, you go to Configuration at the bottom menu, and you go further on to Device Info and Firmware Updates. If there is an available firmware update, you will find it here. To upgrade the firmware, press the firmware version and accept. The firmware is now being installed and takes some seconds. When the installation is complete, always check that you have the latest firmware installed by going to Device Info and Firmware Updates, and then you will find and see that you have the latest firmware. If you wish to use the Extract UltraLink as temperature sensor to the Supply UltraLink, you need to pair the Extract UltraLink to the Supply UltraLink. In this session, we will show you how to do that. Sensor functionality is available from UltraLink version 4. You can read the product version on the label placed on the damper body. Before we start, we will go through requirements and preparations. The requirements: you need a smart device, phone or tablet. Make sure you are within the product's Bluetooth range to the UltraLinks. Preparations: make sure the product is turned on. Make sure you have downloaded Lindab OneLink application from App Store or Google Play to your smart device. Okay, let's start. Start by opening the OneLink application. Scan for devices and connect to the Extract UltraLink. Copy the UltraLink MAC address. Disconnect the UltraLink. Scan for devices again and connect to the Supply UltraLink. Then you go to Configuration and Wireless Sensors. Tap on one of the available gray-colored sensor slots. Click on MAC address and paste the copied UltraLink MAC address onto the slot. Click on Enable Sensor. Wait for the sensor to connect. When the sensor icon turns green, it's connected. This might take a few seconds. In this session, we will show you how to pair an Extract UltraLink to a Supply UltraLink as a subunit. Sensor functionality is available from UltraLink version 4. You can read the product version on the label placed on the damper body. Before we start, we will go through requirements and preparations. The requirements: you need a smart device, phone or tablet. Make sure you are within the product's Bluetooth range to the UltraLinks. Preparations: make sure the product is turned on. Make sure you have downloaded Lindab OneLink application from App Store or Google Play to your smart device. Okay, let's start. Start by opening the OneLink application. Scan for devices and connect to the supply UltraLink. Copy the UltraLink MAC address. Disconnect the UltraLink. Scan for devices again and connect to the extract UltraLink. Then you go to Configuration and Wireless Sensors. Tap on one of the available gray-colored sensor slots. Click on MAC address and paste the copied UltraLink MAC address onto the slot. Click on Enable Sensor. When the sensor icon turns green, it's connected. This might take a few seconds.
In this session, we will show you how to mount actuators to heating and cooling sources and the wiring between the actuators and the supply UltraLink. The feature is available for FTCU and FTMU version 4. Before we start, we will go through requirements and preparations. Requirements. If you're using both heating and cooling sources, make sure the power supply to the actuators share a common ground connection. Suitable actuator for heating and cooling sources. A wiring cable for actuator. Preparations. Cut the power supply to the supply UltraLink. Have any necessary tools ready for mounting the actuator to the heating and cooling source, and to wire the cables to the UltraLink's blue connection box. Okay, let's start with the heating source, for example a radiator. Dismantle the current actuator from the radiator valve. Mount the adapter ring on the radiator valve. Mount the actuator on the adapter ring. And run the cable to supply UltraLink. The process is the same when using a cooling source, for example a passive chill beam. Start with dismount the current actuator from the cooling valve and mount the adapter ring on the cooling valve. And mount the actuator on the adapter ring and run the cable to the supply UltraLink. Open the supply UltraLink blue connection box and run cables through the cable entry. Wire the heating signal in AO1. If you are using both heating and cooling sources, wire the cooling signal to AO2 and make sure the power supply to the actuators share a common ground connection. And now restore the power supply to the UltraLink and turn it on. In this session, we will show you how to make settings to analog output signal inside the OneLink app to commission the heating and cooling feature in your UltraLink. This step assumes that you have already paired the chosen temperature sensor to the supply UltraLink, wire the cables between the heating and cooling sources to the supply UltraLink, and enable the temperature room regulation inside the OneLink application. The feature is available for UltraLink FTCU and FTMU version 4. Before we start, we will go through requirements and preparations. Requirements. You need a smart device, and make sure you are within the Lindab product Bluetooth range. Preparations. Make sure the product is turned on, and make sure you have downloaded the Lindab OneLink application from App Store or Google Play to your smart device. Okay, let's start. Open the OneLink application and scan for available devices. Log in to your UltraLink . Inside OneLink app, go to Configuration and then go to Device Settings. Go to Setting of Analog Output A01 for heating source. Click on Variable to select cooling or heating. Click on the voltage range and select the voltage range according to the chosen actuator, and A02 for cooling source. If you're not available to select cooling or heating as analog output, you need to do a firmware update to your UltraLink. Make sure that you also have disable increased airflow when heating and cooling. To disable increased airflow when heating and cooling, you need to set the scale factor for temperature regulation to 100%. By doing so, the temperature will be adjusted using only the heating and cooling source. In this session, we will go through how you, from Lindab OneLink application, give the room visitor access to adjust the room climate from Lindab OneSet application. We will start with going through how you give access to the room visitor, and then we will show you what parameters are available to adjust and read for the room visitor. This step assumes that the system is already commissioned and running. The functionality is available from UltraLink version 4. You can read the product version on the label placed on the damper body. Before we start, we will go through requirements and preparations. Requirements. You need a smart device, phone, or tablet. You need to be within the Bluetooth range of the supply Lindab product. Preparations. Make sure you have downloaded the OneLink application from App Store or Google Play to your smart device. Also make sure that you have downloaded Lindab OneSet application from App Store or Google Play to your smart device. The room visitor can adjust the room climate by scanning a QR code generated from OneLink application with the OneSet application on a smartphone. Okay, let's start. To create a QR code for the room visitor to scan, start by opening the OneLink application. Scan for devices and connect to the supply UltraLink controlling the room. Go to Configuration and Device Info. Go to End User Application Access. Fill in the project name, for example, Entrance. Choose if the visitor should be able to read the climate only or read and write. Set access duration validity time. Then press Generate QR code. Save to phone gallery by clicking Save to Gallery. When everything is set up for use, open the end user app OneSet for easy adjustments of the room climate. The OneSet app can replace a traditional wall-mounted room controller. Now the room visitor can view or even control the room climate by the end user application OneSet. Open the OneSet application and scan the QR code to view or make adjustments to the room climate. In OneSet application, you can view the room climate and make adjustments if the QR code permissions are set on read and write. The visitor can then see the values reported from the sensors, adjust the temperature, and set the room status to presence, away, or force.